Welcome to the halls of mediocrity, where legends are forgotten, journeymen are remembered, and serviceable, it's the highest honor that we know. I'm Kevin, this is Jeff, and yes, this hall is named after us. From second string stats to first degree charges, this is the halls of mediocrity. Back to the halls of mediocrity. And we have, as Detroit Lions fans, a pretty hot topic going on with a Detroit Lion, well, former Detroit Lion now, who is in some pretty significant legal trouble. I'm going to turn it over to my brother Jeff, and we're going to jump right in to the information around Terrion Arnold.
Kev, thanks. And Terrion Arnold, this is all still kind of developing. So where does this go from here? We really don't know. But there's a lot of things out there in the media. So I thought it'd be a good time. Let's just clear it up. Let's just put it all in a nice little package so everybody knows exactly what's going on and where we're at in the process.
Let's do it.
All right. Terrion, first round draft pick of the Detroit Lions 2024, correct?
Correct. Out of Alabama.
From Alabama. What pick was he? Was he like 24th?
He was the 24th overall pick in the first round of the 2024 NFL draft.
Yep. Which was the draft that was in Detroit, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, that was the Detroit draft. So he got a warm welcome here and had an okay rookie year. Last year had some injuries. So of course,
I think okay rookie year is, I think it was almost okay. I would say
Yeah.
it skewed a little towards underwhelming.
Yeah, he got he got called for quite a few pass interferences. He was a little grabby, but that's not uncommon with rookie corners, though. Young
A
corners.
different speed of game. You know, you're dealing with reality, even coming from Alabama and the SEC, you're dealing with a whole different level of athlete as well. So you're right. It's not abnormal for a rookie cornerback to have a predilection for holding.
Yeah, with him last year, he got injured. So he had a shoulder injury. So, a year that you would think he'd really prove himself, he kind of didn't because he didn't play a lot. So there's a lot riding on him coming into this year, 2026. So, and then of course you run into all this, and now he's not even a Detroit Lion. And now we're starting to have these conversations. It's by far the worst first round draft pick Brad Holmes has had. Where is it going to rank on the list of worst first round draft picks ever? Lions got a long list of guys. You can argue that.
Yeah,
So
the Lions might have half of the top 25 of that list, and you could make the argument, depending on what happens with Terrion, that he's going to fall on that list too. Another stain on the Detroit Lions organization.
Exactly. And we could go through that, but it would be like a Jerry Lewis telethon. It would last like 2 days for us to go through all the shitty draft picks that the Lions have had over our lifetime. So anyway, so let's go into what happened, what's going on, and where it's at now. So it starts with Terrion Arnold somebody stole from Terrion Arnold. So early February, NFL cornerback Terrion Arnold filed a massive property loss report with the police department in Largo, Florida. Over $250,000 worth of personal belongings, cash, and high-end items had vanished from an Airbnb he was renting. For a first-round draft pick, only making so much money, that's a lot. That's a lot. He lost $250,000. But instead of letting the police handle the investigation, prosecutors allege that Arnold decided to act as the general manager of his own vigilante justice. He's taking charge.
So let's think about this, right? I'm all for entrepreneurship and people wanting to take initiative in life. I would usually caution that taking the O.J. Simpson route of trying to resolve your issues on your own is generally not a good idea.
Especially the way Terrion did it. So fast forward June, gearing up for training camp, expecting Arnold. They need him in the secondary, right? Instead, 23-year-old walks into the Orient Road Jail in Florida to surrender on a warrant. The charges, 8 felony counts, including armed robbery, kidnapping, and conspiracy charges that carry a maximum penalty of life in prison. Holy cow. All right. So let's get to the revenge. Let's see what he does. All right. February 4th, according to Tampa Police Department, Terrion Arnold suspected that a couple of local guys were the ones who cleaned out his Airbnb. The twist, the police later verified those targets. So the guys he was targeting were completely innocent and had absolutely nothing to do with the original theft. But Arnold's crew didn't know that. Prosecutors allege that Arnold orchestrated a plot to lure the targets to a Tampa apartment on North 46th Street. Court records detail a highly calculated honeypot scheme. Arnold supposedly directed 2 women to reach out to the victims electronically to set up a private meetup. When 3 unsuspecting teenagers arrived at the apartment, the trap snapped shut. They weren't met with a party. They were met by multiple armed associates of Arnold. The victims were trapped inside, held at gunpoint, brutally beaten, and pistol whipped. At one point, attackers reportedly shoved a firearm directly into a victim's mouth. Their jewelry and electronics were stolen, and they were ordered to flee. That's what happened. But here's where the story takes an even wilder modern turn. Prosecutors claim the entire violent assault was actually live streamed or video called via FaceTime directly to Terrion Arnold while he was driving to the location. That's what happened.
So, generally speaking, criminals are not very smart.
No.
When you're a millionaire athlete, early 20s, you would think that carrying out basically a gang assault on people you suspect of doing something is just not a good idea. In 2026, it's an even worse idea to FaceTime it.
Don't worry. I'll delete the call. They won't know.
Just hit the delete,
Afterwards, I'll go to the call
delete
up.
button.
I'll delete it.
Button. I'm Terrion Arnold. I'll just hit the delete button. Here, I'll hold that phone. I'll delete it.
So let me get into this one. They call this the general manager defense. Okay. So I think this is his defense. If you look at the physical evidence, Kev, Arnold's defense attorney, Harvey Steinberg, has a major talking point. Arnold is never actually inside that apartment room while the violence occurred. Investigating detectives openly admit they cannot place him at the immediate physical scene of the beating. How's he facing life? Florida's principal theory of law. Under state law in Florida, if you plan, direct, or facilitate a crime, you are just as legally guilty as the person pulling the trigger or swinging the pistol. Prosecutor Kevin Riley didn't miss words in court explicitly stating it doesn't get off the ground without Terrion Arnold. Worse for Arnold, 2 of his co-defendants, Jasmine Randazzo and Ariana Del Val, recently flipped. They pleaded guilty to kidnapping and armed robbery charges, and under their plea deals, gave sworn testimony pinning Arnold as the mastermind who devised the plan, gave the directions, and drove the getaway vehicle. He drove the getaway vehicle. On Monday, June 29th, Arnold appeared in Hillsborough County courtroom clad in a red jumpsuit with inmate stamped across the front. He listened as Chief Circuit Judge Christopher Sabella denied the state's request to hold him without bail. The judge set his bond at $1 million. He denied putting an ankle monitor on Arnold so he wouldn't interfere with his football attire, jokingly noting that with the sports media, Arnold essentially has a paparazzi monitor on him already. Meaning if he flees to the beach, if he goes anywhere, somebody's going to catch him, right?
Especially with all of this hanging over his head.
Absolutely. It's Even legendary former coach Nick Saban sent a formal letter to the court acting as a character reference for the former Alabama star. Alabama ultimately, or I'm sorry, Arnold ultimately posted the $1 million and bonded out of jail on Tuesday morning. So normally with $1 million bond, you got to put 10% down. So he put 100,000 down. All right.
Mhm.
So now the Lions' unforgiving act. So and again, I haven't read this, so let's kind of see what's going on. While Arnold, oops, sorry, give me a sec here. While Arnold's defense team claimed the $1 million bond ruling proved the state's case was incredibly weak, the Detroit Lions, to their credit, by the way,
Yep.
had seen enough. Just hours after the bond hearing concluded on Monday afternoon, the Lions completely shocked the NFL world. I don't know if they
I don't
completely
know that I
shocked.
would no, I don't
Yeah,
think it's shocking. Here's the thing. He has been a terrible underperformer.
yes.
He has clearly not developed into somebody who is worth a first round pick.
He's Jeff Okuda 2.0 is who he's turning
You
into.
nailed it. Yep.
Yep,
And for those who don't know, for the Detroit Lions, Jeff Okuda was the last big superstar cornerback out of Georgia that was going to anchor the back end of the defense and was an absolute flop. So he is Okuda 2.0. But I will say this. I do believe this. If Terrion Arnold had played 2 full seasons and met or exceeded expectations for him, I don't think the Detroit Lions release him.
no. If this is Jameer Gibbs, he's in training camp now,
Yeah.
avoiding reporters.
Now, the good news for Arnold, and I don't know if the judge regrets this decision now, is that his argument for not putting an ankle monitor on him, it would, distract from his football activities. Well, he has no football activities now
That's right.
because he, my friends, as the old saying goes, will be standing in the cheese line come Monday morning.
That's right. That's right. Yep. They didn't wait for the league to put him on the commissioner's exempt list, and they didn't wait for the trial. Detroit Lions officially released Terrion Arnold. The team ate a massive financial hit, and it left a glaring hole in their defensive secondary right before camp. So right now, Rocky Sin is your starting corner on that side with DJ Reed on the other side. So
And, all due respect to Rocky Yassin, he's a journeyman. And listen, Terrion Arnold has not tore the world up, but Terrion Arnold is a different level of athlete than Rocky Yassin is. So
that's
it
right.
is a big problem for the Lions in a position that they have been notoriously bad at.
And now you got Kirby Joseph still hurt.
Yep.
Brian Branch, he's not going to be back till midway through the year, which we already knew that. You've got a lot of holes in the secondary right now. And Terrion Arnold was one of the guys you were really counting on. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's out of a job, and I think they did that for a couple reasons. One, they've seen it. Dane Campbell in March said, "Hey, we've heard the stories. We're standing with them. We believe them."
Yeah.
Obviously, something happened since then. I'm sure it has something to do with the co-defendants flipping on him, right? And telling that's the other thing, though. He could get off. A lot of juries don't look at people that take deals as being competent people
Or
to listen to.
or they're gonna chirp because that's what their deal requires them to do.
That's right. That's right.
So how much of what they say is provable? And I think that's ultimately what's going to come down to when he goes to trial is are those two girls credible enough and is there evidence enough to support what they say and convict him? That's the question mark.
I've got a feeling that FaceTime call, somebody has a copy of that. I have a feeling somebody has a copy of that. For them to go after him and threaten with life in prison, somebody's got a copy of that.
Well, look at Jeff. What do you do for a career, right? You've
Yeah,
been in that business for decades.
that's right.
You gotta think if it was a FaceTime Apple, they're probably gonna be able to find that video.
There is a way to get everything that happens
Yep.
on these phones. So I gotta think that's what it is. So let's go with this. What's the cap hit? Do you know what the cap hit is,
I
Kev?
don't know what the
All
cap hit
right.
is, no.
All right. Because first round rookie contracts are fully guaranteed, releasing Arnold before a formal league suspension or legal conviction means the Lions are legally obligated to absorb his remaining salary. Had they kept him, they still would have had to pay, but if he got convicted or the league went in and suspended him, they could have got some relief. They just cut bait with him.
So
Under the
that to me is an indicator that they've seen something that says, nope, we will eat 100% of it and wash our hands clean.
We know he's getting convicted, but we also know the league probably won't suspend him until it goes to trial. That's exactly what that's telling you. Under this scenario, his remaining money accelerates onto the books. So right now we're sitting on $8.475 million in total dead cap money. Now, they do let you break it up a little bit. So 6.6 million hits us this year. Next year, the additional about 1.9 will hit us. So
And this is a
it's
story
tough.
that is not finished. There is more to this story, and of course, as us being Lions fans, we'll continue to give updates on it as information comes out. But it'll be very interesting to see if the evidence is sufficient to convict him.
Yeah, it's gonna be I think they know. He's getting convicted. I wanna throw one more thing at you as I'm
Okay.
sitting here reading. So, there is a there is a forfeitable breach, okay? So, the Lions can and probably will try and invoke the NFL collective bargaining agreement's forfeitable breach clause, arguing that his arrest and incarceration breached his contract protections. If the Lions successfully void his guarantees, which again, I'm sure they've got to argue this with the union and with the league, his base salaries will be completely wiped from the ledger. If that's the case, then all they have to pay is 2.6 million this year and 1.8 last or for next season. So it does make a big difference. It does make
So,
a big difference.
to make this story even more disturbing than it is, wait until the Lions have that conversation with the NFLPA. Because I can guarantee you, the NFLPA, as most unions will do, when they've got a scumbag member, they will fight like hell on behalf of that member. And think about what he's been accused of and what there is evidence of. And the NFLPA and the union will fight on his behalf. Does the
Yeah,
story get a little more disgusting? It sure does.
that's right. That's right. It's pretty similar. So I'm sitting here reading on, and it's not too unlike. We had the exact same thing happen the year before with Cam Sutton, right?
Yes.
And they were able to void part of that. Per NFL rules, while salary grievance is active, 40% of the disputed salary will count against the Lions' cap space as dead money until an arbitrator issues a final ruling or a settlement is reached. It's going to be interesting to see. I will say I like the fact that Dan Campbell in March had his back, probably didn't have all the information, but now they've got the information, he's arrested and they don't waste any time. They caught him because that's to me, that's a bad sign going into the year, right? That's a bad sign. We just talked about it in another episode as we're kind of recording and putting episodes in the can. You got a lot of these guys. It's bad karma in your locker room. Get that bad karma out of your locker room.
It's
Hate
it's a
this.
disease is what it
I
is. And if you've ever played sports and you have somebody that's got some baggage and brings it into the locker room, it is contagious. So good for them for recognizing it and taking the initiative to send him packing. They've probably got some pretty good information that says this is the right thing to do. Who cares about the timing? Who cares about what it does to us for the season? We need to wipe the slate clean.
That's right, and honestly, the state of Florida, they know. They're not going after him because they think they might have a case, because 'cause they've already got people that have already pled to these crimes. They're going after the ringleader, and it's Hillsborough County. That is a county that you don't wanna mess up in. They are very tough on crime in Hillsborough County.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So this is a developing story. Jeff, you mentioned it was just yesterday that the judge released him on bail. So, I mean, this is happening in real time. We'll continue to follow it, not just as fans of crime and sports, but as Detroit Lions fans and him being a first round pick just 2 years ago. Terrion Arnold. We'll come back to it. We hope you enjoyed this little update and intro to Terrion's case. We'll follow it right through to its conclusion, the halls of mediocrity, wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.